Hi, I'm Katie. Welcome to Yoga Awakening and welcome to your practice. So, this class is for tension relief. So, these are a few really simple exercises and movements that I like to do in my own life, and I thought that you might like to follow along with me. So, simple and quick, a really nice practice to do anytime if you just want to get into some of those really common parts of the body that at least I find tend to hold a lot of tension. We'll do a little bit of myofascial release to get started. Don't worry if that's new to you, I'll walk you through it. You'll need just 2 props for class today. And this one you will definitely want to have for our first couple of movements. You could always skip those if you don't have a myofascial ball like I do, like this one. You could also look around your house and see if you have a tennis ball hiding anywhere in a closet, a lacrosse ball, anything of roughly this size. And it would be fine too if it were a little bit smaller than a usual tennis ball as well. And then you'll want a block, and we'll just use that near the end. So we're going to get right in. You'll grab that tennis ball, and you'll come to stand. So just so you know, you could actually do this entire practice seated in a chair, maybe on the edge of your couch as well would be fine. So do know that all of these things are actually possible the whole class from that position. So we'll be standing here. You could also be seated in a chair, and then with your feet on the ground, you'll go through it just like we will. So with that ball underneath your right foot, we're going to start to make some kind of really rough movements, almost like you were scribbling a pencil on a piece of paper. And as you do that, you might take a big breath in and a big sigh out through the mouth, relaxing the shoulders. And then as you do that, let a little bit more of your weight maybe just sink in to that ball underneath you as you're moving it around, so the foot can feel as relaxed as possible. So just some really light scribbling, as we sometimes say, movements. And then we'll bring that to an end, and we're going to start with the ball of the foot on the mat, so hopefully you can see me here. And then that myofascial tool or tennis ball, whatever you've got underneath, will come kind of right where your heel meets that middle portion of your foot. And that's how I like to do it instead of all the way on the heel, because I get this nice little spot in between there that can be just a little bit tender. So you'll run your foot side to side across that ball with the ball of the foot and the toes firmly planted. Again, just taking some big inhales in, exhales out, nothing too fancy or dramatic. Just starting to check in as maybe you're noticing a little bit of that tenderness in the foot, as I sometimes do here. So we're going to do a little release for the feet and then for the hands, and I really like to include these things in my yoga practice because they're areas that I think often don't get quite enough attention. But if you're anything like me and spend a lot of time at the computer or walking, good things to do. All right, we'll switch sides. So now that ball will come up to the ball of the foot, and again, just kind of in that portion where the ball of the foot kind of turns into the midfoot, so you can move the ball around just a little bit until you find a spot that feels nice, heels on the mat, and we're just making those rocking motions side to side. As best you can here, let the toes be relaxed, foot is heavy. We're just kind of letting that foot rock across, kind of sort of where the knuckles of your toes would be. And then we're going to take one more movement here, and that will be bringing the ball from the ball of the foot towards the heel. And here we will look for a little bit more pressure. So from the toes, let that ball move down to the heel, and then you'll just lift your foot up and roll the ball back towards the toes. So we're going in this one direction, toes to heel. The ball might escape out from under you at some point, that's fine. This is also a little bit of a balancing act, so you could bring a hand to a wall if you need. Lifting nice and tall up out of that left hip and leg, so you're not forgetting about the rest of the body. And let's do about 2 more. And then release. We'll return one more time back to that really light scribble all around the foot. And then release the 2 feet to the mat. Close the eyes. A little soft bend through the knees. Feel down into the 2 feet, and for me there's a pretty clear difference here, pretty clear sensations, sense of the 2 feet on the mat, on the floor underneath you. So just notice whatever differences you might observe there. How the feet feel in comparison. This is an important part of any time we're doing this myofascial release, of using these pressure techniques, is to spend a minute to observe. Great, we'll switch sides. So left foot, start with your scribble. Get all around the foot, maybe into the toes a little, sides of the feet. And then we'll bring the ball of the foot to the mat, toes to the mat, and then find that space kind of right at the edge of the heel. So rock that tool side to side. Going nice and slow. And then we'll switch sides so the heel comes down. We find that spot for the ball where maybe there's a little sense of tenderness, and then gently rocking side to side. Relaxing the toes as best you can. That might be a little challenging or a lot challenging. And then we'll take that final movement, so rocking from the ball of the foot to the heel. Press the ball down to the foot as you go, and then lift up to repeat. I'm going to adjust your stance there as you need to. And of course, skip any little bits if you're encountering something that feels a little bit more like pain than it does like just a little gentle discomfort. Pain we don't want or need, but a little tenderness, that kind of nice feeling of pressure through the layers of the tissues, I think feels really nice. All right, let's do 2 more. And then repeat your scribble motion. As light with the foot as you can be without letting the ball roll away. And then you can go ahead and set your ball off to the side this time. Pause, feet hip distance apart, close the eyes one more time. Feel the 2 feet and notice. And open your eyes. Make your way down to sit on your mat, or if you're in your chair, you're already there. And if you are in a chair for this part, you might be able to use your thigh with the ball there, because we're going to work into the hands a little bit. Or maybe if you're seated at a desk or somewhere nearby, you can bring something over. You could bring the ball there as well. So we're going to start with the ball in the right hand, and of course if you do have 2 myofascial balls, sometimes they come in pairs, you could of course just be doing all these exercises on both sides at the same time, well at least the ones for the hands, probably not so much the ones for the feet. So again, we'll just start with our little scribble motion, not forgetting about the fingers and the fingertips. Just noticing how this hand feels. Maybe again, not an area we think about a lot. Great, and then we're going to run the ball again in that side to side motion like we did with the feet, right along the base of the palm and kind of right up into that meaty area of the thumb. So right along there, rocking the ball side to side. Once again, think about relaxing the fingers as best you can. It's kind of a little C shape. And then we're going to pause right on that thumb edge. So sort of off towards, again, that meaty part of the thumb and maybe a little bit into that space in between thumb and index finger. So again, you have probably a couple or a few places there where you might feel a little bit of tenderness, so you can choose or make maybe a really subtle little rocking motion till you settle on a spot. Fingers relaxed. And then we'll shift the ball and bring it right into the middle of the palm. Allow the fingers to drape around the ball And then just lightly press down. One more time for our scribble motion. And then we'll pause in between sides, palm face up. Left palm could be face down. Draw your attention to any differences you notice between the two sides. Open the eyes. If they were closed, we'll switch sides. So left hand or scribble motion. And then we'll start those kind of C-shape rocks from thumb to the outer edge of the palm. Just notice what is going on in the rest of the body. Softening where you can or finding support where you need. Take a couple more rocks. And then we'll pause again right in that space. Kind of maybe a little lower down into the thumb or that space in between thumb and index finger. And then shift the ball to right underneath the center of the palm, fingers tent around, press down gently. One more time for your light scribble all around the hand. And then go ahead and set your myofascial tool or tennis ball off to the side. Both palms come to face up. Maybe now there's a little bit more harmony between the two sides. We'll come to take a simple stretch for the side of the neck into the upper pec. So left arm comes behind and it could come, the fingers could come to plant anywhere behind you. Or if you'd rather, and it's available, you could wrap the left fingers around the right arm. I like to do that. It feels a little grounding there. And then right ear to right shoulder. Close the eyes if you'd like, or keep a unfocused gaze. Feel that gentle opening there, maybe all the way from the tip of the left shoulder up through the left ear, maybe wrapping a little bit behind. Release your left hand first. Lift your right hand up and then press the right fingertips into the right side of the head to lift the head back to neutral. Second side, so right arm comes behind, maybe grabs around for the left upper arm. Left ear to left shoulder. Start to notice what it feels like to let the attention start to wash over all of these smaller and subtler areas of the body. The feet, the hands, the neck. Release the right hand. Left hand comes up, left fingertips to the side of the head. Lift the head back up to that neutral position. Notice the two sides of the neck. Great, and then a little quick practice for building a little bit of strength in the neck. So maybe not always the first thing we think about when we think about the neck. Really simple. We're going to bring the right palm over towards the right side of the head. So I like to go just above the right ear. And then I press the palm into the head and the head into the palm. So creating this inner resistance. And we'll press as hard as you can for 5, 4, 3, keep resisting, 2, and 1. Release. Opposite side, left palm, left side of head, and press for 5, 4, 3, press a little more, 2, and 1, release. Notice how that feels. And then we'll repeat front and back of the head. So I like to use my right hand, maybe whichever is your dominant hand, right to the center of the forehead. Palm presses in, forehead presses back. You might notice where your head is trying to move there as you press forwards. It starts to feel like you're resisting that desire to lift the chin up and extend there. 4, 3, 2, and 1 to release. And then we'll do the back. For this one, I like to interlace the fingers and then bring them behind the head, sort of towards the base of the skull. And then I press. Notice there that maybe it feels like your chin is starting to tuck a little bit. Resist. 4, 3, 2, 1. Great, we'll come through into a tabletop. So we're almost done here. Just have one final exercise before I guide you into our ending shape. So come into your tabletop, wrists right underneath the shoulders, or maybe a little bit in front. And we're going to move through a cat and cow, but I encourage you to find this segmental awareness in the spine. So to do that, you'll probably need to move really slowly. So that's the challenge. We'll think about moving from the tailbone, so the base of the spine, up and up through the crown of the head. You could also opt to keep the head a little bit more still and think more about moving from the low and the mid back. So here we go. As you inhale, the tailbone starts to curl up, curling up through the low back, the mid back. And then as you exhale, opposite motion, again starting from the tailbone. Tailbone tucks under first. So really go as slow as you can here. And if this is new to you, it might feel pretty challenging to think about all of those vertebrae being separate. But that's okay, you're already building your awareness just by bringing the attention there and visualizing. You might just notice, oh, where is it easier? Where do I have a little bit more of that segmental awareness, and where it still sort of feels like it moves as one part? So you might even make your cat and cow a little bit subtler. Let's do 2 more. Move at your own pace. You might close your eyes so you can really visualize the spine. One more. And then start to take a few moments here just for a little free flow of movement. Your last chance to just arrive here in your body, noticing maybe a certain sort of movement that it's asking for, something that feels nice. Maybe some circles of the hips. Great. And then we'll come into our last shape, child's pose, and I'll leave you here. So stay here for as long as you like, maybe a whole minute, 2 minutes. I like to do this one with a block for under the forehead, that front edge of the block right there, along the forehead. You could skip that and just rest the forehead on the mat or a pillow. Knees together or as wide as you like. We're just finding a final shape that feels comfortable. So maybe that's Just coming into a comfortable seat in your chair and closing the eyes. Let's take one round of breath together. Inhale, feel the belly expand. Exhale, release all the breath through the nose or the mouth. Soften into your shape a little more. Spend as long as you like there. I'll bring my hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.